So we have. I think this is interesting because I think traditional news is dying, and now we're seeing presidents go on podcasts and speak, and presidential candidates. Specifically, we know that Trump went on Joe Rogan, and we know that Kamala Harris went on Club Shay Shay. We
Mhm.
also know that Kamala Harris went on a feminist podcast. I think it's called Call Her Daddy. And I think Trump also went on Flagrant 2. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on all of these. So I'll start first with I think we have the same kind of thoughts with the Shay Shay interview. I'm about halfway through it. I told myself if I watched it, I was going to take a shot every time she reflected and answered and directed it back to Donald Trump instead of actually talking about policy. But I was working when I was listening to it, and I can't be that drunk while I'm working.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I skipped out on that. I noticed they were killing her in the comments.
Oh, what?
I don't think I saw any positive comments when I was looking at that Shay Shay video. I don't know what you think about it.
So I think it's good that they go on these podcasts. I think that's a really remember with Obama, one of the reasons that Obama won was because what helped his campaign was because he was the first one to jump on social media. And I know some people have some problems with that, but it is what it is. He got to it first, he thought of it first. So that was a good thing. Now, fast forward to today, you have president nominees going on these podcasts. If you're going to go on a podcast, it better have an audience, and it better have I'm not saying you even need to have a diverse audience, just wherever the audience is, you need to get in front of those people. They need to hear your message, they need to hear you talk, just hear you being human, really. And I saw the Joe Rogan. I watched both podcasts in entirety. And Joe Rogan was pretty calm. Full disclaimer, I actually don't even watch any Joe Rogan podcast in the entirety. I watch just the clips every now and then. But Joe Rogan was a pretty strong podcast, and we know it was a strong podcast because YouTube had issues with Joe Rogan's podcast. But that clip itself, and that was maybe, I don't want to say 2 hours or whatever it was, but that thing was at almost 35 million within 1 day or within 2 days, or 1 day, because I think it was 2 days. So it was 35. No, it was 1 day. Sorry. So it was 35 million views. This Kamala Harris one with Club Shay Shay, this thing is only 681, which that is a lot. That is a lot of views. That's not more than the Cat Williams one. This one should have
outperformed that.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
This one should be over 1 million within the same day. And Trump is at 35 million. And looking at these comments, let me see if I can pull this up though. But yeah, they were not too kind, and I understand why they weren't kind to her. She's just not a good candidate.
There's a reason why Joe Rogan's podcast is the most listened to, and I know you said you don't listen to any full ones. I've been rocking with Joe Rogan's podcast for a while, and the reason why I like Joe Rogan is he doesn't show any bias. He'll call people out if they say something crazy or if they come on his show for a silly reason, but I've seen him give liberals and conservatives alike a platform to talk. I didn't even know who Bob Lazar was until I found out about Joe Rogan. And if you don't know who Bob Lazar is, I suggest you look into him because he's dropped some gems on Area 51. He used to work there. But those are the types of conversations that Joe has. And Joe is a comedian, but you can tell he does his research and he studies whoever he's talking to. So he's not just talking out of his ass when he's talking to these people. But here's the other thing. He extended the same invite to Kamala Harris, and she hasn't accepted it yet. I don't know what's up with that. When it's clearly, why would you not accept an invite for the most popular podcast? I think his is number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to the people she has around her, because if you get any type of invite, you make that happen with Joe Rogan. Regardless of how you think it's going to go, you make that happen though, because if you don't go on there, then that's going to look really bad on your part though, because if you have a problem with men or men supporters, well, they say they don't have a problem getting men supporters. I just saw Michelle just go after men, but whatever. But Joe Rogan has a way bigger podcasts of men that tune in. Like, I don't know what it is for women, but I know a lot of men tune in to Joe Rogan and Club Shay Shay. I mean, Shannon Sharp, he's doing his thing. He just don't have a big platform like Joe Rogan. But that podcast, I mean, this thing should have did, gangbuster numbers. And when you look at these comments, though, I mean, this guy was like, who else paused and ran straight to the comments? 6,000 likes.
Crazy.
He said, I think more people showed up for the comment section than the actual interview. Like, this is like a thing. This turned into a thing, and this can't be good for, Shannon Sharp got paid. So for the folks that did watch it, and I know you're still working through it, MC, but there were a lot of commercials in there. Joe Rogan got run commercials. Joe Rogan, I mean, there were a lot of forced commercials, because I know if you don't have like YouTube Premium, you won't see any commercials, but there were a lot of forced or hard-coded commercials in the video. I was like, damn, another commercial? Like, what are we doing here?
I'll tell you this. I don't have to watch an entire Kamala Harris interview to know how it's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
I predetermined how this interview would go before I even hopped on it, and she did not disappoint.
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far, she hasn't answered any of her criticisms or questions. It's just, I'm the lesser of two evils. I'm better than Trump. And this interview was only an hour. I think Joe Rogan's was damn near 3 hours, and I listened to that one entirely. And like I said, I'll finish off Kamala's tomorrow morning. But they were talking about policy the entire time. I mean, he took his shots at the people that he didn't like, but Trump at least 3 times said, I'm not going to mention this person's name because I don't like them and I don't want to give them any more shine. He spent a lot of time talking about tariffs and how he essentially had China to the point where they wanted to start building factories in the United States because of some of the things that he was doing. And this is how look, when I hear Trump and JD Vance talk, it's policy. They answer questions. They answer hard.
How are they gonna do it?
Like, Rogan even brought up the Hitler thing and the General Lee thing that Trump allegedly said, and he had respect for. Like, so it wasn't a sugar-coated interview, and that's probably another reason why Biden VP won't go on Rogan, is because the one thing about Joe Rogan is you can't tell him what questions he's going to ask you.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do his thing.
Yeah, he's going to ask his questions. He has a very good research crew and team, and they're going to pull receipts.
Yeah,
like, and she's not. I don't think she's ready for stuff like that.
Yeah, and so you got Shannon Sharp just shucking and jiving for Kamala. Like, a lot of these questions were like loaded questions to her advantage, and she's not even answering the questions. Like, especially when they talked about Black people voting for what's going on here, and why are Black people voting? She really didn't even address it, and it's like, this is just one of those things where they just missed the mark. They continue to miss the mark. I already know they're going to blame Black men when it's all said and done, but it is what it is. Like, we went through this in 2016, 2020, and it'll be 2024 and 2028. I'm sure it'll come up though, but this is a referendum on Black men, or really, I want to say men in general though, because when they've already blamed white men, now they're blaming Black men. So just because you won't vote the way that they want to vote. And when I look at these comments, I mean, a lot of them probably coming from men, but men have voting power here, and you have to like make sure you're not disrespecting, or at least you're letting them know like why they should vote for you. You got to earn the vote. And Kamala was talking about earning the vote of Black men, but then they pulled that the plan for Black people was just was a fake or scam program. And she had an opportunity to go on Joe Rogan, and I believe Joe Rogan would have been straight with her and let her just kind of talk, because he's had people on there that was like, bro, what are you talking about? He's had viral clips of people just saying silly things, and he just lets them cook, and he'll say, like, that don't make sense. What the hell are you talking about?
So he had the former before Elon bought X and changed it up. So he had the former content director on there, and she openly admitted that back then Twitter, as it was called, was purposely shadow banning and hiding conservative posts.
Yeah.
She admitted it.
Yep.
And Joe, he went at her hard for that. And let me go back to the comments because we talked about the comments on Club Shay Shay. If you look at the comments on Joe Rogan, most of them are calling out Google and YouTube for censorship.
Yes.
And like I told you right before we started recording, I tried to find this interview. I knew I had it saved in my watch later playlist on YouTube, but if you try to search it, you have to look really, really hard to find it. So, and it's just something as quick as Joe Rogan, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like it's not even on the first page. It's just people talking about the interview, but not the interview itself. And they still managed to have this much traffic.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? I was about to just pull it up so I can show the view count and show the comments. I haven't found it. I just JRE and Trump. That should be the first one there. But for whatever reason, yeah, I mean, I found the clips, but I haven't been able to find the actual interview. So this is the other thing too that a lot of folks don't understand. The Democrats are pro censorship. So when your favorite YouTuber gets, kicked off the platform or their accounts, this is why people don't go to get their news off of Facebook, IG, or any other platform other than X. X is like Elon, he lets everything goes. If you get super out of pocket, he'll say something, but for the most part, he lets everything go, lets everyone rock out. On YouTube, yeah, you definitely got color inside the lines. And if you get out of pocket, especially with this Trump, I don't know why YouTube is even shadow banning this. Like this brings a whole nother issue. Like Joe Rogan's one of your biggest creators on the platform, and you're shadow banning it because of the success it's gotten. Why are you guys interfering? You got people losing their mind because, what was it, the Washington Post, they didn't endorse Kamala and people were quitting. Like, what does it matter? Like, again, big tech and Mark Zuckerberg has already said that they were already interfering as well too. So again, this is why people have to make sure they're voting correctly and make sure that they're voting for the party that's not pro censorship. Like if you care about, the freedom of speech and stuff like that, then there's only one party that's been trying to censor people. That's only been happening on one side.
Yeah. And for substantiation, because we just accused YouTube of censorship and shadow banning, New York Post just 2 hours ago dropped that article supporting it as well. So take that for what it's worth if you want to rock with the Post or not. But also, I want to take this time to say that the Dems were pretty adamant at one point about censorship in the red pill community. And let me just explain red pill really quick. The premise of red pill is truth and masculinity. It doesn't have anything to do with oppressing women. It's about us getting back to being men and dealing with logic and reason and strength and just getting back to how we should be as opposed to these low T soy boy beta males that everyone wants us to be. It's just the opposite of that. There's no one who's out here pushing any harm on any women or wanting to boss them around or tell them what to do. I consider myself to be slightly red pill. TR, I don't know if you feel the same, but for some reason, they seem to have a problem with men pushing back and questioning and saying, we're not down with what you guys are doing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just dirty politics, man. Like there's not a place for masculinity in the Democratic Party right now.
No, yeah, these are great examples of. I mean, you have all the evidence in the world to show that there's no place for men, and the men that you're supposed to that they are emulating masculinity in their party is Doug Pimphan Emhoff, who knocked up his nanny, and then Tim Walz. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know why they think those are the people that they want to push the masculinity on. No, those are the men they want to run over on. But the men that they want to save them, it's the men on the other side. It's 100%. The men that they want to clap cheeks, it's those men. So, pick whatever side you want, but you're picking Kamala, you're a dude, you got to get that testosterone check. I promise you get that testosterone check. Hey, I am low T. Figure it out, and you'll be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we got a lot of do better, Dems. Y'all suck with men. But you won't. You'll hide behind the women and the LGBT that support you, but you're not going to go and talk to the people who don't like you, and that's why you're not going to ever, at least not anytime soon. That's why the men are leaving y'all in massive drones. And we just found out today, Pink Book List is pulled the receipts on this. Black women are starting to abandon y'all too. So not
Yep.
all black women are falling for y'all shenanigans. So y'all better pivot, better change your strategy up, because that sign language and that fear mongering, that ain't gonna work no more. Do better.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. So that is gonna wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us. Any closing remarks, MC?
No, I think I just said mine, but go out here, be great, get your bag, chase your dreams, hit the gym, do your thing.
Facts. All right. See you later.
Peace.